Hello everyone, and welcome back to another All Wrestling Review. And I don't really have a whole lot to say about this week, because honestly, there was really not a whole lot this entire week that I really was interested in, really. So this might be a bit of a shorter one this week, but maybe, well, when I say shorter, it will probably end up being a bit mostly be me ranting for about 20 minutes about, something that shouldn't be all that serious, but whatever. Anyway, but in all seriousness, this is not going to be a long one. When it comes to TNA, there was only a few things I ended up watching. Joe Hendry did a song about Ryan Nemeth that only lasted 2 seconds. It basically went, "Ryan is Nick's brother, the end." That was basically the entire song that Joe Hendry did on Ryan Nemeth, Nick Nemeth's brother. And also, I thought Ryan was a part of AEW. The last time I remember seeing him, he was a part of AEW, so I guess he probably left. Well, he wouldn't be in TNA if he wasn't. But, yeah, definitely noticed that. And also, Heather Reckless, or Heather by Elegance, as she is now being known as now, because she's teaming with Ash by Elegance. She ended up taking on the other half of the tag team champions, that being, well, the Knockouts tag team champions, that being, what's her name? Geordie Threat, that was her name. Because on the Halloween edition of TNA, Ash by Elegance defeated Danny Luna. And it is the same Danny Luna, and I didn't realize it, it was the same Danny Luna that was in WWE, and she was with Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. I think that's who they were. Like, I can't remember their faction name, but she did look familiar. She was familiar, and then I realized why she used to be in WWE. But regardless, yeah, Ash beat her last week. So when I saw this match, my mind was like, I think Heather Reckless will probably lose this week because Ash won last week. And that's exactly what happened. Heather ultimately lost her match to Geordie Threat, I should say. And it made me, and then I remembered that TNA is in a partnership with WWE, so that was a very WWE thing for TNA to do, in my opinion. And that was really it, really. That's really all I really saw from TNA. That was really all I was really interested in. Kind of disappointing, really. But, I mean, what can you really get? I'm not asking for much. I'm just asking for decent matches that I can enjoy. I'm not going to talk much about Rampage this week. Not Rampage. Collision. That was the one I was thinking of. Collision. I'm not gonna tell you guys much about Collision this week because there was really nothing I wanted to really watch. But I do want to talk about the. I don't think I mentioned it in my previous one because I actually checked my previous wrestling review. I don't know. I think it was probably the week I talked about Anna Jay getting a victory over Mariah May. I genuinely can't remember, so. I'm only going to talk about this now in case if I have already talked about it, then you can use this. Then you can tell me in the other part. But anyway, on AEW Collision last week or the week before, I can't remember, but I think it was last week. Anna Jay got her title match against Mariah May. The matchup was very, very good. Anna didn't win, but the match was still great. I thought Mariah and Anna Jay had a really, really good match. And Anna looked good in defeat. She looked great in defeat, and that's really all I can really ask for, really. And then when it came to Dynamite this week, the Hurt Syndicate were having a promo. Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. They seem to be entering a feud. They seem to be in a feud with Swerve Strickland and all that. So. Yeah, I mean, I was never really the biggest Hurt Business fan, but hey, I'm only just seeing what they're up to, just because I guess. And Jamie Hayter had a match against Penelope Ford, as well, and the match was... I wish it was longer. My only complaint is that I wish it was a bit longer. The match was about roughly 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes long. Wasn't a very long women's match. It wasn't a very long women's match, and that is really my only complaint. That is really my only complaint, that I wish the match was a bit longer. And I also wish maybe there was something with Mercedes throughout the week, but there wasn't really much of her. So that's kind of the other reason why I didn't really tune into much of AEW. Hikaru Shida made her return. I don't know where she disappeared from, but apparently she returned on Rampage, defeating an enhancement wrestler. I mean, she's not an enhancement, she's an actual wrestler, but she's not signed to AEW. Vivi Van, or whatever her name is, I've forgotten already. But yeah, she had a match with her, and Shida got the win. It was a decently competitive match. It was a decently competitive. And now Britt Baker is going to be coming back on Dynamite next week. Yay! The botchy, bummy, sandbagging doctor herself is making her return. That's exactly what we need. That's exactly what AEW needs. That sandbagging bitch to make her return. But there was another match I did see, and I think it was from Collision last week as well, during the Halloween week. It was Thunder Rosa and Harley Cameron, and they had a really good match. Yeah, it sucks Harley didn't win, but I mean, hey, I'm used to it at this point. Harley never wins. I mean, at this point, I may as well just deal with it, right? I may as well just deal with it. She's never gonna win. And she's never gonna win unless she's in a tag team match with Saraya anyway. So yeah, I can't really say much about that anyway. Harley's great. She's really funny, she's really entertaining, and that's really all I can really say. She's really funny, she's really entertaining, and I mean, she's fighting Thunder Rosa. She wasn't gonna be Thunder Rosa. So, no matter how badly I want Harley Cameron to win, I know she's not gonna beat the people she's facing. So yeah. Yes, I do want Harley to start winning, but with the people she's up against, you know, it's kind of difficult for her to do so. Where the heck's Deonna Purrazzo been? Like, I haven't seen Deonna Purrazzo in a while. I don't know what's going on with her. I haven't seen Saraya in a while, so I don't know what's going on with them. Maybe they're just having a break. Maybe they're both taking breaks. I don't know, but I've definitely noticed a lack of Saraya and Deonna Purrazzo as of late. Definitely noticed that they haven't been featured for quite some time, so I don't know what's going on with them. So when it comes to WWE, I'm not going to talk about Crown Jewel, because you know me, I don't talk about Crown Jewel. But unfortunately, I have to talk about the Raw in Saudi Arabia. Despite that I don't like Saudi Arabian shows, I have to talk about the Raw in Saudi Arabia, and I really did not like that show. I thought that show was really boring, and there was really nothing special to talk about. Because Rhea Ripley is now injured, they now have to find a new opponent for Liv Morgan, and how do they do it? By doing a very boring Battle Royal. I'm sorry, Battle Royals are the lamest, and the most boring way to give us a new #1 contender. Well, okay then, Patrick, then clearly you prefer what Triple H has been doing recently with the triple threats, putting 2 triple threat matches. No, I don't like those either. Why can't we just have a standard singles match or just a standard fatal 4-way? Why can't we just have a normal-ass fatal 4-way or a normal-ass singles match, and then we can just determine challenges that way? I don't even like the triple threats. I think the random triple threats is lazy as well. I just think Battle Royals are really lazy. They're the laziest way to get new contenders. The most laziest things ever to get new challenges set up. And of course, Liv Morgan's also feuding with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair because she ultimately cost them the Battle Royal. And now they're going to have a match. Now they're going to have a tag team match on Raw. And I swear, if Liv Morgan and Raquel ultimately defeat Bianca and Jade and end their title reign, I'm not going to be happy because I do not want to see Liv Morgan prancing around with 2 championships. I've never been a fan of wrestlers holding more than 1 belt. I didn't like it when Roman did it. I didn't like it when Becky did it. I didn't like it when other people did it. Probably the only time I was okay with it was Randy Orton because they were unified into 1 belt. But then eventually they were ununified anyway. I never liked the idea of wrestlers holding 2 belts. It makes them very, very greedy. It makes the wrestlers look very greedy, and it also makes the people writing the show lazy. That they would rather give a title to somebody else. They would rather give another title to someone who's already being pushed. I've never been a fan of dueling champions. I've never been a fan of double champions, and I got very, very sick of it because of the bloodline stuff. With Roman and the Usos, I got very, very sick of it because of the bloodline stuff. I don't want to see Liv Morgan and Raquel as tag team champions. So that's really all I can really say about that. Other than that Battle Royal, there was really nothing special I really wanted to talk about. Damian Priest is #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, so I guess it'll be Priest and Gunther for the World title at Survivor Series, I guess. The Usos have now gotten Sami Zayn involved in the Bloodline stuff. I generally do not care. And the other thing is that Adam Pearce says that next week's Raw is going to be a New Day celebration, 10-year anniversary. And I feel like I know how this is going to end with the New Day eventually coming to an end and breaking up. Yeah, not a whole lot I can really say about Raw this week. NXT, however, there's actually a lot of things. Sorry about that, I just got my dinner. Anyway, NXT. When it comes to NXT, there's actually some things I generally do want to talk about on NXT. So let's give NXT a little whirl, shall we? So NXT this week was an ECW special show. It was an ECW special show to celebrate the legends of ECW. Let's go over the ECW legends they brought back for the show. They brought back the Dudley Boys. They brought back Rob Van Dam. They brought back Rhino. They brought back Nunzio. And they brought back Dawn Marie. I'm sorry, what? Dawn Marie? And Nunzio? Now, I've never watched ECW during their heyday, so you can be mad at me all you want about this, but they're not legends. They're not ECW legends. You know, if I did watch ECW, I'd be offended by this. So, like, you have room for Nunzio. I mean, Rhino, sure, he's an ECW legend. Sure, thumbs up on that one. Rob Van Dam, yes. Dudley Boys, yes. But Nunzio and Dawn Marie? Why not Sandman? Why not Tommy Dreamer? Why not Sabu? They are the OGs. They're the OGs of ECW. Why not bring them back? WWE's in a working relationship with TNA. Isn't Tommy Dreamer with TNA? You mean you couldn't have called Tommy Dreamer and say, "Hey, Tommy, you want to come down for an ECW show? Yeah, we got some good ECW stuff for you." You mean he couldn't have called Tommy Dreamer? Like, they're in a working relationship with TNA, and I think Tommy Dreamer works for TNA, doesn't he? I don't understand. Like, that is the only thing that blows my mind. Why was Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, and Sabu not there? 3 of the most iconic names in all of ECW. Listen, Taz was not going to be there because he works for AEW. I get that. I get Taz not being there because he works for AEW. WWE's never going to work with AEW. So, I'm mind blown. I'm mind blown about the choices they made. Dawn Marie. The same Dawn Marie that her entire career is mainly remembered for that one storyline she had with Tori Wilson over Tori Wilson's father. That Dawn Marie. I don't ever remember her being a part of ECW. Get it? What I just said about Dawn Marie is all I know about Dawn Marie. She had a storyline with Tori Wilson over Tori Wilson's dad, where she wanted to marry Tori's dad. And my God, that was a god-awful storyline. And Nunzio, I remember him from the FBI. I don't know how these two are qualified as ECW legends. I don't know how these two were qualified for ECW, but sure, whatever, I guess. Dawn Marie refereed a match that had Lola Vice and Jada Parker in it. And Jada Parker won by smacking Lola Vice in the head with a brick, and then doing a clothesline to beat her. What a crappy finisher Jada Parker has, I'll tell you that much. I mean, Jamie Hayter has a clothesline as well, but at least hers looks more devastating than what Jada Parker does, I'll tell you that much. I'm gonna get hate for that one, I'm sure. And RVD, again, makes sense to have him there. Again, makes sense to have him there, because he's an ECW original. They had pretty much mostly ECW originals outside of Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, and Sabu. I mean, hell, I would have even been okay with Hardcore Holly turning up, because at least he actually was a part of ECW. Anyway, so the big talking points I want to talk about is the 10-woman tag. Ava Raine announced the Iron Survivor making its return, and I'm already predicting who will be in the Women's Iron Survivor. I'm predicting Julia, Cora Jade, Fallon Henley from Fatal Influence, Jordan Grace, and Kalani Jordan. Because it kind of makes me think that's who it's going to be. I could very well be wrong. I could be miles off, and it could be none of them. I mean, who are we kidding? It's going to be at least two of them. I mean, who are we kidding? Who else are they going to put in there? Outside of the people I named. Hard to say. Anyway, so Zaria Delta, who's the new Australian wrestler who recently debuted, pinned Roxanne Perez in the 10-man tag. It was Delta / Zaria, Julia, Stephanie Vaquia, Jordan Grace, and Kalani Jordan against the heels of Roxanne, Cora Jade, and all of Fatal Influence. JC Jane, Fallon Henley, the North American Women's Champion, and JC Jane. And so, what's her name? Jasmine Knox, or however they bloody say her name. I said JC Jane twice, I'm sorry. So they have Zaria pin Roxanne. Now, I don't have a problem with it. Because obviously she's Australian. Biased, biased because I'm Australian. You know, all that nonsense. So, but I felt like they really should have had Jasmine Knox take the pin instead, because to me, I feel like she was the weak link. But I also understand maybe why they wanted to have Zaria pin Roxanne. But of course, it's now caused the entire internet to lose their minds and start calling Zaria Rhea Ripley 2.0. Like, come on, give me a break. Is that really the best insult that people can do nowadays? I'm not going to ramble on too much about it, because man oh man, it really annoyed me. It really pissed me off, so I'm not going to bother ranting about it, because my God, it was just really damn stupid. So that's really all I really want to say about NXT. As I said, AEW didn't really have a whole lot this week that I was really invested in. Dynamite had a really good match between Adam Cole and Malachi Black. That match was really awesome, and Malachi might be leaving because he was hugging Adam Cole and all that, so I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he's leaving AEW or something. I don't know what he's doing, but he seems to be maybe taking a break from wrestling. It sounds like he's probably going to be taking a break from wrestling. So, when we got to SmackDown, obviously, it was Bloodline dominated as always. But SmackDown had Bayley versus Candice, and Bayley won by outsmarting Candice, which, you know, I actually didn't hate. Finally, a babyface that's actually not stupid and doesn't fall for the typical heel faking their injury nonsense. We also had Jade and Bianca defeat Nia and Tiffany, with Candice getting involved and Naomi also getting involved. So there's that. And then we had the introduction of the Women's United States Championship. Now, I know a lot of people are excited about it, and I am too, finally. A mid-card belt, finally. But the thing that irritates me the most, and I don't care if people do not like my opinion, but I absolutely hate that this title was introduced a week after they fired Indy Hartwell and Tegan Nox. Why? Why fire it? Like, why do that? Like, Indy and Tegan Nox would have absolutely benefited this championship. Absolutely would have benefited the most from this championship. But you go ahead and fire 2 women from the women's roster and then you introduce a new belt? Absolutely insulting. I think that is absolutely insulting. That they would make a new belt a week after they fired 2 people from the women's division that would have absolutely needed that belt more than anybody else. That is the thing that infuriates me the most about this belt. Now, before anyone tells me, well, Patrick, it's gonna be on Raw and SmackDown. It's gonna be just like the Women's Tag Team Championship belts. It's gonna be going back and forth between Raw and SmackDown. Okay, cool. If that's how it's gonna be, then maybe the belt will work. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a Women's Intercontinental Championship next. I'm just saying, I won't be shocked if they end up making a Women's Intercontinental Championship as well. Because Triple H can't help himself, he's got to make more championships, even though Tony Khan and AEW make a lot of belts, but people criticize Tony Khan making so many belts. But when WWE create more belts, they're like, yay, more opportunities. Whatever. Seriously. That is my only gripe with the United States Championship belt they created for the women's division. The fact that they had to fire 2 people, being Indy and Tegan, and only a week later to make this belt, ultimately infuriated me. And that's all I've got to say. That is going to be the end of this All Wrestling review, guys. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to enjoy my dinner, and I'll see you all next time.